Hello, everyone. This is Legacy of Leaders Show, and I'm your host, Jon Heymann. Terrell Hogan Law Firm is one of the best-known law firms in the Northeast Florida, quite frankly, in the country. And it's great to have Alan Pickert from the law firm back for a third show. It's great to have you again, Alan. Tell me a little bit about the law firm, just to refresh everybody's mind and what your expertise is.
Sure. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. This is a special year for us. This is our 50th anniversary of the law firm, which makes us not only the second oldest law firm in North Florida, but one of the fifth oldest law firms in the entire state of Florida. So we have quite the track record. We have 50 years of excellence and hoping to get 50 years more. We are a boutique litigation firm. And what that means is we kind of do everything almost from A to Z that's litigation-wise. So I myself run the asbestos mesothelioma department. I've handled a little over 4,000 asbestos mesothelioma cases in my 30-plus years at the law firm. Great success record. I've only lost once.
But I've heard that, only one.
But I did lose February 12, 2006. It still sticks in my brain. Nothing like a type A personality to let that bother you.
Yeah.
But we do everything: auto, trucking, bicycle accidents, medical malpractice, any type of mass torts that you can think of. A lot of things in the media recently about Roundup or Camp Lejeune cases. The list goes on and on. We do all those type of litigations. We just added a new lawyer that's going to be doing family estates, type of law, wills, disputes, things of that nature. But other than that, we kind of do everything from A to Z. We're kind of we're a small firm in that we have a dozen lawyers and 40-plus staff people that help us. But we have the resources to do as well as any large TV advertiser or company. We just kind of rely on word of mouth, and that's how we've been the last 50 years, and going forward, that's how we're doing it.
Well, nationally, I understand you got recognition from a national, well-known periodical. Tell me about that.
Well, that's very kind of you to point out. Newsweek magazine did a feature on me years ago, naming me one of the top 20 asbestos lawyers in the entire nation. And consequently, I get calls from all over the United States. Just this past week, I had a gentleman from Arizona call me who has mesothelioma. I have actually had cases or trials in 18 different states, and but I speak nationally at conferences about the dangers of asbestos, about how to do the cases. They're very complex. To put in perspective, in the state of Florida, golly, I think there might be more lawyers than there are cockroaches. I'm afraid to say that, but I mean...
And they're not related.
They're distant cousins,
Right.
Many people would say, but there are a lot of us. Yeah. And with that said, there's only 4 of us that have the specialty that do asbestos litigation. So it's a real specialty niche. It's something that North Florida has recognized with what we call an asbestos rocket docket, so that we can get cases with people who have this incurable cancer to try to get them to trial before they pass away. We represent their widows, we represent their adult children or what have you. And honestly, a lot of our cases, I mean, people say, oh, well, it's people that were in the Navy, of course, because all the insulation aboard ship was asbestos for fire retardant purposes. And they say, well, paper mills and powerhouses. But those, are kind of fading out. Well, no, I mean, asbestos is in a tremendous amount of things.
Tremendous amount of homes,
correct? Oh, yeah. Roofs, drywall, sheetrock. You'd be amazed. I mean, I get a call almost weekly from somebody in the older sections of town who says, look, I'm looking at buying this house, or I was getting ready to do something, and they tell me I have asbestos shingles, or they tell me I have asbestos vermiculite as insulation between my walls, or the sheetrock is asbestos. What do I do? So, but we've been representing people. We got the very first lawsuit in the state of Florida, successful lawsuit, back in 1984 for an asbestos victim, and we've been doing it ever since.
So in all the years you've been doing it, I think you said 32, is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you seeing the number of lawsuits go down? Because most people know asbestos is bad, so they're more aware of it than they were back in the 80s and 90s.
Yes, the short answer to that is yes, but the long answer is a little more complex in that if we had a bowl of asbestos right now and you and I ate it like cereal, we may have an upset stomach, but that would be it until anywhere between 20 to 65 years. So asbestos is what we call a latent injury or a latent disease, meaning that once you have the exposure, it can take anywhere from 20 to 65 years to manifest itself in your lungs. And that's when people are like, I don't remember working with asbestos, and then it turns out you didn't, your dad did, brought it home on his clothes. And just from him having it on his clothes, you're exposed to it. Or, yes, I worked with it 30 years ago. I just represented a gentleman who's a realtor. He had no asbestos exposure, he said, in his life. Well, it turns out 30 years ago he renovated a duplex downtown that he wanted to make a quadruplex. Yeah. And he was doing a lot of the work himself, and the old walls contained asbestos. And as a result, he developed, unfortunately, incurable mesothelioma, and he died from it.
Yeah, this is not a joke. This is not like a broken arm or a broken foot or a minor accident. This is death-defying, serious issues. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that we had Alan on the show today. You all have his contact information below. Hopefully you've learned an awful lot about asbestos and what you can do about it. So I'm saying please contact him if you have an issue, and have a wonderful day.